Boker Tov, Boker O. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Good to see you on this beautiful Erev Shabbat on this Friday morning, leading into Shabbat and then into Chanukah. It's a wonderful day for us to be together. And good morning, Annette. Good to see you. And to everyone, good morning, Sean. Each of us, it's really meaningful to be here together on this Friday morning. Good morning, Joni. And to one and to all, Boker Tov. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. I'm Rabbi Michael Dolgan, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Good morning to Seymour and to Alan and to each of us as we head into this wonderful Shabbat. And so let us be prepared to face the day and to do so with a sense of gratitude. Let's join together in the Hebrew and English of this prayer that says that each breath, that each time we go to sleep and wake up and do other seemingly physically mundane things, that it is in fact a miracle. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah, u'boravo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim, galui v'yadua lifnei chisech vodecha, שאם ייפתח אחד מהם, או ייסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה, אדוני, ורופא כל בשר, ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And now we say an additional prayer for that spirit, for that soul, made up of three different elements according to tradition. Nefesh, that vital force that is our life itself. Ruach, spirit, that connection between us and the divine. And Nishama, the living soul, the part of us that in fact never leaves the presence of God. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And let's join together, Lasok B'divrei Torah, to delve deep into the wonder and gift that is our tradition, that is Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah, va'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו, וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה, אדוני, המלמד תורה על עמו ישראל. And now let's turn to a text for learning that names the 10 commandments of social living, not the 10 utterances spoken by God to the people as a whole, that we usually call the 10 Commandments, but these essential elements that turn a group of people into a society. Elu dvarim she'en lahem shi'ur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat Midrash shacharit v'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. Vachnasat ochim, to welcome the stranger. Uvikur cholim, to visit the sick. Vahachnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. Ulvayad hamet, to keep faith with the dead. V'yun tfilah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam l'chavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'tamud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, let's continue with this prayer, Baruch She'amo, that celebrates creation and the power of words to create and recreate and shape our world. And then we'll recite our prayer for journeys, Psalm 121, as we make our way toward Chanukah, beginning this Sunday night. Baruch she'amo v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who speaks, that we might listen. Blessed is the one who acts, that we might be witnesses. Baruch hu u'baruch shemo. Blessed is the one who decides, that we might accept. Blessed is the one who has mercy, that we might live. Baruch she'amo v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who removes the darkness, that we might see. Blessed is the one who lives forever, that we might believe. Blessed is the one who saves and delivers, that we might be redeemed. And so we continue with Psalm 121, with Esainai el E'arim, that wherever we're journeying, we're always journeying in symbolic spiritual fashion to Jerusalem. That certainly while the Maccabees were from Modi'in, modern city of our sister congregation Yozma, still they were building the earthly Jerusalem in the model of a spiritual one that they carried with them at all times. Shir lema'alot esainai el heharim. I will look only upward, past the mountains, for my help comes from the one beyond. My help comes from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. Ever alert, your guardian will never allow your foot to stumble. The guardian of Israel never rests, never sleeps. The Eternal will watch over you as a shadow cast by your right hand. You will not be overcome by the sun nor abandoned by the moon. The Eternal will guard you from all evil, watching over you. The Eternal will guard you as you set out and as you return from this very moment until the end of time. And with that preparation, let's join together in Shema Yisrael, in these words of listening, but these words also of understanding. It's an intense listening, not in any way just about hearing. One doesn't even need to be able to hear, to Shema, to understand, to take in, to affirm. Let's do that together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavecha, ubechol nafshecha, ubechol meodecha. Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם. ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. Well, as we think about emet, about truth, truth is, as we're reminded by the image of the Maccabees and by their experience, not merely something we need to accept, but something we need to fight for. We need to work hard together and fight for a world where truth matters. And the story of the Maccabees reminds us both of how valuable it is to fight for that, and that when they then lost focus and fought among themselves, how when we do that, we very much limit our ability to bring goodness and truth and to affirm their place in our world. And as we approach Hanukkah this year and the end of 2025, I can't help but reflect and wonder whether we've learned enough, not only from the Maccabees, but from the last 2 years and more of our own history about the importance of working together. The kind of reality we live in and that we face, we were reminded of painfully this week as someone went in and in an act of anti-Semitism and criminality, ripped the mezuzahs off of the doors of Jewish seniors in a Jewish seniors building. And while the mezuzot, Yisher Koach to those who did so, were very quickly replaced, one can't replace how it feels to feel like one lives safely, as opposed to how it would feel to have that kind of anti-Semitic defacing take place. But what is the context? While certainly the Jewish community has stood up and said this is unacceptable, we do so in an environment where it seems to me we haven't learned enough from our history, both long ago and recently, that it's been a source of frustration for a very long time, that when there is important work to be done in our community, there tends to be a sense, especially of major Jewish organizations, around making sure about who does it and who's seen to do it and who gets credit for it. And it's not uncommon for there to be a dividing and conquering within our community by the members of our community over trying to get people to look at the work that's done in a certain way. We say that in the context leading up to Hanukkah, time of remembering the reality of anti-Semitism, as if we could forget that Bill C9 is going through the parliamentary process, a bill that is supposed to be about addressing hate. And while I don't want to get into the complexities of the bill today, there's been excellent information put out by the Alliance for Canadians Combating Anti-Semitism, alcca.ca, if one wants to learn more about this issue. But nevertheless, there's been a dividing and conquering within and of the Jewish community around it. I even heard this week called by someone who I really believe is trying to bring the community together about how there are different positions of the different major political parties on this anti-hate legislation, and that one of the parties was lining up rabbis behind their position. The willingness to be divided, not to find ways, despite our differences, to support one another, deeply concerns me. I really don't think we've learned everything we need to learn from this now era of heightened anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. I don't think we've learned what we need to learn in order to understand that with our limited numbers, we need to strengthen one another and work together, instead of believing that the disagreements we have are more important than those things that bring us together, and finding ways around it. I worry about our ability to do so if, in light of 10/7 and everything that's happened since then, that we haven't been able to do so. And yet, I don't want to leave anyone going into Hanukkah without a sense of light and warmth. This week has been a week where, for me, it's been an opportunity to see that while there are still cracks within our community and ways we fight amongst ourselves, we also do have friends and allies. I was part of a really meaningful meeting at the beginning of the week with an ally from the Hindu community, talking about the stories that we share in common and the way in which we can and hopefully will this spring in a more public, active way work together to help our communities understand one another and support one another in time of increased racism and hatred. The next day, I had a lengthy conversation with a member of the expat Iranian community who's strongly involved with the Jewish community in fighting anti-Semitism and talking about events in our community and events in Canada with the anti-religious legislation introduced in Quebec. Um, but that discussion reminded me in the kind of principled support that we often have. And then when this awful event took place at the ripping off of mezuzot from the doorways of Jewish seniors, I got a call from a friend, an imam in town, who expressing his support and disgust at this kind of behavior, and who will be joining us in Shabbat services tomorrow to share words of support. It is important to remember that we have common cultural Western, even I'll call them Canadian values that bring us together and that can. And it's meaningful to know we have real allies during these challenging times. And hopefully going forward in the spirit of Hanukkah and learning its lessons, we can be even better allies to ourselves, finding ways to focus our efforts and our voices to have the greatest impact. It's a time where so much challenge is faced by our people worldwide, especially the fact that Ran Kvili, the last of the hostages whose body is still held in Gaza, still remains there, and how we need to continue to raise our voices and not accept the cruelty and the lies and the evil of Hamas and their allies, but to stand with those who are pressured and troubled and against the kind of evil that those adversaries represent. This prayer is intended to make us aware of our unity, of our need to be together, as well as the need to bring Ran's body home. אחינו כל בית ישראל, אחיותינו כל בית ישראל, הנתונים בצרה ובשביה, העומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה, המקום ירחם עליהם, ויוציאם מצרה לרווחה, ומאפלה לאורה, ומשעבוד לגאולה, השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. Our brothers and sisters, the whole family of Israel who are in difficulty or captivity, whether on land or at sea, may the ever-present one have mercy on them, bringing them out from distress to comfort and from darkness to light, from subjugation to redemption, now quickly and soon. And we say together, Amen. And having said prayers for those under pressure, let's make sure to join our voices together in prayer for those who help our people resist the kind of assaults and evil that we face. So we join together in our prayer for the soldiers of the IDF still standing on guard in Gaza and for all who stand on guard for us. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם, ויקוים בהם הכתוב, וכיתתו חרבותיהם לעתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי אל גוי חרב, ולא ילמדון עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו, ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid, and together we say, Amen. We continue with our prayer for those in need of strength and healing, for all of those who are experiencing challenge, and for those who are doing well, for those who are facing long-term circumstances in regard to injury or illness or isolation, for all of those in need, for those who need a ray of light, for those who received one, for all those who are in need, whether they be those whose names have been given to me or given to Temple, or those names placed in the chat and this and other services, or for those who we wish strength for, even if we don't know their stories. For all of them, we turn to these words of refuah. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו להחלימם ולרפאותם, ושלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ועטרת שלום, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. Well, it's very meaningful to have this opportunity to connect and reflect. And now we take time to remember, recalling those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. During the period of Shloshim, the past 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Donna Bitterman, Ann Schwimmer, Miriam Snyder, Andrew Taylor, Gersh Sohn, Becky Greenberg, Blanche Wiseman, Mark Cowan, Janet Fine, Jackie Becker, Lorraine Himmelfarb, Matthew, Chris. And we also remember all victims of war and terror, including Aharon Cohen. And on Yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 22nd day of the month of Kislev, the 12th of December, 2025, we honor the life and legacy on Yahrzeit of Anne Abagoff, Harry Brown, Nina Budman, Carl C. Cole, Bessie Littman, Gerald Rosenberg, Irving Bernie Schachter, Sarah Tessis, Norman Tractor, Max Weinstock, Jack Waldman. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemeh rabah, be'alma divrach u'uteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dechol be'Yisrael, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say amen. And Temple is grateful that a number of contributions have been made this morning. A contribution has been made to the annual campaign for Tzedakah by Rita Starkman, observing Yahrzeit for Gerald Rosenberg. A similar contribution to the same fund, has been made by the Schachter family, observing Yahrzeit for Irving Bernie Schachter, and a contribution has been made to the Minyan Fund by Alan Weinstock and Janice Goldberg, observing Yahrzeit for Max Weinstock. Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Make it a good one. Please do join us to mark Shabbat together on this beautiful Shabbat. Boker Tov,